film begins with Charlie Matty returning to the city after a joyful trip with his young son, Anatoly. As they enter the city, Anatoly excitedly wants to stop and watch a street performer. Charlie smiles and tells him to go ahead, saying he will follow after finding a parking spot. But then, the unexpected happens. As soon as he steps out of the car, Charlie is confronted by a group of masked men who open fire on him. Despite being shot multiple times, Charlie miraculously survives. As his consciousness began to fade, memories from the past flooded Charlie's mind. He recalled his youth in prison listening to grim warnings from a mafia boss known as Old Timer. With a deep, heavy voice, Old Timer warned that once someone enters the world of crime, there is no turning back. In the present, Charlie is rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Doctors work frantically to save him, carefully removing each of the 22 bullets lodged deep in his body. The scene shifts to Tony Zacchia, a powerful and cold man who has just received news about Charlie's condition. His sharp appearance and calculating demeanor make viewers wonder if he is behind Charlie's attempted assassination. Meanwhile, the shooting shocks the public and becomes headline news on national television. Anchors reveal that Charlie was once a notorious mafia figure but had withdrawn from the underworld. This news only heightens the tension and mystery surrounding the bloody attack. In the next scene, Police Captain Marie Goldman appears, showing a special interest in the case and deciding to go to the crime scene herself. Meanwhile, as Charlie lies on the operating table, painful memories from the past flood back. He recalls his youth, when he learned that Old Timer, the mentor he deeply respected, was killed by a ruthless rival. This loss ignited a burning desire for revenge in Charlie. Alongside his two close friends, Tony Zacchia and Karim, he planned to take revenge against Hernandez, a notorious gangster they believed was responsible for Old Timer's death. The young men, driven by anger and a desire for revenge, swore to remain friends and stick together like brothers. Determined, they set out and successfully took revenge on Hernandez. This moment marked the beginning of their dangerous journey into the world of the Mafia. Back in the present, Police Captain Marie Goldman faces pressure from her superiors. They advise her to close the case, arguing that Charlie is just a former Mafia member and gangland killings are not the police's concern. However, Marie ignores this advice. With unwavering determination, Marie continues her investigation, hoping to find the killer. She visits Charlie in the hospital, where he is recovering from a difficult surgery. Despite her attempts to question him, Charlie remains silent, creating a heavy and mysterious atmosphere. Marie leaves the hospital room visibly frustrated, just as Charlie's lawyer, Martin, enters with his two close friends, Karim and Pat. That night, after putting her son to bed, Marie was startled by an unexpected phone call. Old pain resurfaced, and she spent the rest of the night quietly drinking, remembering her late husband. Meanwhile, Karim, filled with anger, was determined to seek revenge. Loyal to Charlie, he was ready to do whatever it took to track down and confront the person responsible for the attack. Martin advised Karim to stay calm and wait for Charlie to wake from his coma before making any decisions. Before leaving, Karim instructed Martin to take care of Charlie and never leave him alone. At the hospital, a man disguised as medical staff quietly sneaked in and approached Charlie's room. Without hesitation, he drew his gun, pushed the door open, and coldly fired multiple shots at Charlie. Gunshots echoed through the hospital, causing doctors to rush to the scene. They found a body, but the victim was not Charlie. Thanks to her vigilance, Captain Marie had already moved Charlie to another room before the attack. She immediately tightened security and set up a team to monitor the hospital directly, ensuring Charlie's safety. While observing, Marie saw Tony Zacchia enter the hospital to visit Charlie, raising further suspicions. During his visit, Tony breathed a sigh of relief knowing Charlie was still alive. Before leaving, he left a congratulatory card with a subtle warning. Surveillance cameras were everywhere, and the police were watching from the ambulance outside the hospital. Soon after, Karim and Martin visited Charlie and quickly took him out of the hospital. Marie immediately followed, determined to track their every move. Kareem quickly realized they were being followed and sped up to shake their tail. He contacted a friend for backup. When Marie lost track, Kareem drove straight to an old warehouse, where one of Tony's men was tied to a chair. The man was so terrified he could barely stay calm. Charlie, calm but cold, reassured him that nothing would happen if he cooperated. Frightened, the man admitted he was not involved in the shooting, but revealed a shocking truth. Tony Zacchia, Charlie's former best friend, had ordered him to be followed and targeted. Tony wanted Charlie dead because he had withdrawn from the criminal world, leaving control of the drug business to him. He feared Charlie might return and challenge his power. This revelation left Charlie confused and incredulous, unable to believe his closest friend would plot against him. Kareem urged Charlie to kill Tony as soon as possible, but Charlie was torn. Tony was not only his best friend, but also someone who had sworn vows with him in youth, making the decision even harder. Kareem relented, and Martin took Charlie home, where his family welcomed him warmly. The reunion gave Charlie some comfort after all the turmoil. Kareem returned to his family, but late at night, he was suddenly kidnapped by Tony's men. It turned out that Charlie's kidnapping had been planned in advance by the man who had been tied up in the warehouse, the one who revealed all the information. His plan to gain Tony's sympathy backfired completely when he was shot dead immediately. The attacker even cut off one of Kareem's fingers and sent it to his family as a cruel warning. Charlie, who had been focused on his work and daily life, remained unaware until he received news of Kareem's death. The shock and grief overwhelmed him completely. At the funeral, he stood silently watching Kareem's family mourn, his heart heavy. Anger and rage surged within him, and his desire for revenge became uncontrollable. Before carrying out his plan, he asked Pat to quickly take his family to a safe place to avoid danger. That night, Tony's associates threw a loud, carefree party, acting as if they felt no guilt for torturing and killing a man the night before. But their joy would soon end, as Charlie had now become an unstoppable troublemaker. Unarmed, Charlie gave them one last chance to say goodbye to their loved ones, as their lives were about to end. He shot one man, recognizing him as the one who had shot him before by the distinctive watch on his wrist. Charlie escaped easily, while the others could only tremble in fear. The next day, one of Tony's men visited the graves of the dead, but was killed by Charlie before he could light any incense. Seeing that Charlie had begun killing, Tony immediately ordered a search of his home and family, but they found nothing suspicious. Meanwhile, Charlie relaxed peacefully with his loyal cat in a quiet corner of the city, unaware of the search. A while later, Martin, Charlie's lawyer, arrived at the house and was shocked by the chaos inside. He quickly warned Charlie, unaware that one of Tony's men had tracked him and discovered Charlie's hideout. Soon, they were surrounded. Cold and determined, Charlie faced the attackers, holding them off, while Martin escaped by boat. One of Tony's men caught up with Martin, cornering him with no escape. Charlie rushed away on his motorcycle, but the men pursued closely, and he accidentally crashed into a police car. He was immediately arrested, forced to face the authorities, and reunited with Captain Marie Goldman. That night, Tony celebrated his daughter's wedding, a stark contrast to his brutal actions. Unaware, Charlie hid outside and captured one of Tony's men. Before dealing with him, Charlie demanded all data on Tony's drug transactions, determined to expose every secret. When he learned what happened, Tony's rage erupted. He left the party and rushed to his drug lab, unable to control his anger. Losing patience, Tony ordered his men to capture Charlie, dead or alive. The next morning, Pat picked up Charlie's children, Anatoly and Eva, from school. Everything seemed normal until a truck suddenly stopped nearby. The men inside kidnapped Anatoly and Eva and drove off. When Marie arrived, she realized it was too late. Soon after, the police found Eva and took her to the station. Eva, covered in injuries, collapsed and revealed that Anatoly would be killed unless Charlie surrendered. When Captain Marie left the station, Charlie suddenly appeared and got in the car with her. He asked her to create a fake news report claiming he had been arrested, hoping Tony would stop searching and release his son. Charlie promised to surrender if his son was safe, and Marie agreed to help. When Tony heard Charlie had been arrested, he flew into a rage and sent a henchman to kill Anatoly. Unbeknownst to him, Charlie quietly followed the henchman on his motorcycle, heading to where his son was held. Inside the house, another of Tony's men guarded Anatoly and was ordered to kill him immediately. Instead, he hurriedly released Anatoly. Outside, Charlie was trapped in a barbed wire fence, struggling to escape. When the thug dragged Anatoly and pushed him into the car trunk, Charlie lunged out, beat him brutally, and rescued Anatoly. When Charlie returned home, he told his wife they no longer needed to hide, as he had eliminated all of Tony's men. The next day, Charlie appeared unexpectedly while Tony was relaxing. He was willing to let things go out of long-standing friendship, but Tony, driven solely by his lust for power, was determined to eliminate Charlie once and for all. Tony pinned Charlie to the ground and aimed a gun at his face.
Oui, Charlie. C'est la plus grosse pourriture que je connais. Suis-moi.
But when he let his guard down, Charlie quickly gained the upper hand. The police arrived in time and arrested Tony for running a drug operation. It turned out Charlie had helped Captain Marie gather enough evidence to convict Tony. When questioned, Charlie was released, as there was no evidence linking him to drug activities, and the police had no choice but to let him go. After leaving the station, Charlie was picked up by Martin and asked to go to the parking lot where he had been shot. There, Charlie realized that Martin had been the one who fired at the wall that day. Feeling betrayed, he aimed his gun, but Martin explained that Tony had only ordered him to kill someone without specifying who. Martin admitted he was shocked to learn the target was Charlie and could not carry out the order. In fact, Charlie had shot the wall as a gesture of thanks to Martin. The final scene shows Charlie and his family enjoying a day at the beach, walking happily under the sunset.